Maar sê is julle terug?
Lyk my so.
Ek hoor julle baie duidelik. Hoe hoor julle vir my?
So far so good.
Nou hoor ek weer vir julle baie swak, maar kom ons try gou.
Ja, meneer se sein wys rooi.
Wat beteken dit van jou kant?
Dit beteken meneer se sein is verskriklik swak en ons is goed.
Ek het een bar hieronder, maar soos Robin Williams, die bekende aktrise wat Mrs. Doubtfire gespeel het, en Good Morning Vietnam gesê het eendag toe, want hy was opgeneem 'n paar keer in sy lewe in sentrum vir alkoholisme. Soos hy sê, hy het net een bar nodig as alkoholist gehad, so hy het nie meer as een nodig nie, maar ek dink vir 'n sein en vir hierdie leerproses gaan een bar bietjie meer help, né? Ons praat nou natuurlik nie dieselfde bar as wat hy gepraat het nie, maar ek dink op hierdie stadium ek wil gevinnig die assignment hier oopkry, ek wil gekyk dat die toets, moet julle, dis 18 September, dit voel soos laas jaar, die toets, ek gaan net gevinnig, wil julle na die toets, want ons gaan deur die toets gaan, en dan kan ons gou, as ons daar klaar is, dan kyk ons gou na die taakie.
Reg, kan.
Good. Sales and Ops. Ek het vir Zack ook nou hier by my, wat ons gejoin het in die klas. So, ek zoom julle op hierdie kant, maar ek praat ook met hom hier voor. Ek wil net gaan ons eers na die toets kyk, julle, wat julle gesê het. Sorry, ek my sommer hier inkry gou. Gaan ons eers na die toets kyk?
Wat is saakie enige kant om?
Okay, we do the test first. Let's do the test first. Okay, now I'm going to put on the screen here so Zachary can see exactly here in class, see the same as you.
Okay.
Kom ek share gou daai screen met julle. Ons bly by die toetsie. Oh, absolutely, what a big coincidence. For the test, the case study you guys got for the test was on clicks. And it was at the same time that clicks were having problems with that. No, this paper was set in March already.
Yes.
No, I said to, I bumped into her now in the corridor. I said to the lady who set the paper, you guys know Ms. Kadzewski. And I said to her, are you psychic? Because I know that this paper was set way back in March already. Because we need to do it 3 months in advance here. And wow, okay, here comes that. Auntie Jackie and Cliff. That was very coincidental.
Waar sien jy dit?
As jy net regskraal, dan kan jy sien wat gebeur.
Ek sien dit nou, dankie.
There we go. As jy nou amper vir jou kom soek.
Ek was in elk geval nie daar nie.
Yes.
Meneer se mic is af.
Wie sit my mic af? As ek daai ene kry.
Hy's like, wee in die lug, maar weer niks. Okay,
while you guys were away for the brief couple of seconds,
ek weet nie, lyk my nie meneer wil met ons praat nie.
Maar jy praat te veel nonsens, man. I was chatting to Zach here in the class, and he actually said to me, we were talking about the exam paper and how did he actually, what did he think about the paper? And he actually said that there's some similarities with some of the questions that was included in the assignment. And
all of them were not just the assignment, but the questions were absolutely
it's the same assessor sets the papers.
But I'm talking about
And I know what, and I think he makes a valid point, because I've always said to students, in your preparation, go through your assignments that you have completed, go through your previous tests, and with the amount of work that we still have to cover for this term, we will have enough time to do proper revision. And proper revision is going to include going through the assignments that you've completed already, and obviously then spend time on previous exams as well. That will definitely benefit. Can I just get a thumbs up from all you guys who that you hear me? How's the quality of the audio? Good. Okay, Christian.
Ek kan meneer nou hoor, ek wil net vir meneer baie duidelik stel, ons was nie weg en meneer was weg.
Okay, op 'n tegniese punt is heeltemal korrek. Ek was weg. Julle was nie weg nie, nee. Maar julle het een ding vergeet, en dit is toe ek weer lewendig geword het, het ek ingekom op julle gesprek wat julle onder mekaar gehad het, wat julle nie geweet het ek het gehoor wat julle sê. Guys, let's go to the paper.
Ja, maar dis alright. Ons het nie veel gepraat, dit was emosie.
Ek sal gaan luister na die recording, nie fout maak nie. I couldn't find, there wasn't too many issues in my opinion. I don't have your individual marks, so I cannot comment on that. To be honest with you, I can't recall all the results, but I don't think anybody had any problems. I think it was quite a high class average. Anybody in particular? If I go through, I'm not going to bother about the true or false questions and the matching column questions. I'm going to go to questions that identify the primary responsibility of a salesperson, discuss and apply 7 secondary functions. None of these are challenging questions, and I don't think anybody had problems with them. There weren't in my opinion, there weren't any issues with the content of specific questions. Number 5, where you've studied and you've now been appointed as a marketing qualification, apply the steps of the consumer decision-making process to the above scenario. That's straightforward stuff. You did it in marketing in your first year already. Nobody had problems there. And then we got to Auntie Jackie's hair products and clicks. So it was quite nice. I think a lot of the questions were the information you can easily find in your textbook. There were a few when it comes to making suggestions as to what you should do, importing, exporting a business. Is the good thing, is the bad thing? So there were some of those applied questions where I think it made you think, but it wasn't again something that was beyond any of you, and therefore it's just, yeah, although I don't have every single individual's mark and paper in front of me, I think the marks were quite good. I think the marks were all in excess of 60%. I'll try and figure that out, as I suggested earlier. I'll send the email to Mrs. Barnos why the results, why I cannot load those results onto Douglas at the moment. I have spoken to her about it and I've sent her an email. I just resend that same email again, but I know everybody has a lot to do. None of these questions were too daunting, I think, so let's jump right into your assignment, which in my opinion is the more important aspect now. I'm just going to share the screen with you and let's do your assignment. So you guys, everybody can see, just give me a thumbs up, you can see the assignment. Good. I'm going to load the assignment on the screen here for Zach so you can see it in class 2.
Ja, ek kan sien.
En julle klank is ook sommer baie goed. Maar julle klank is nie die probleem nie, my klank is die probleem, nee.
Wel, ons klank is nou okay.
Ja, het werk nou beter.
Okie dokie. Let's go to the assignments and let's open that assignment so Zach can see it on the screen. Gelukkig is hierdie rekenaar nie baie stadig nie. Hy is vrek stadig. No, so I have to record this anyway, for them being at home. So, and you'll have access to the recording anyway. I'll post it onto Moodle. We do it on a daily basis, every single class. No, I've got to have this on there for you, and also because I mean, in this case it's just the two of us, but it's a class like 20 like this morning, then it's different. And then it's 2 at home and 20 here. Now it's 3 there in 1 year. Okay, hello. Right. We've started the assignment yet.
Not, well, ek weet Annika het al.
Nee, ek het nie met die een begin nie. Hy moet jou laaste in.
Yes.
Nee, ja, is SOD.
Christian, one of the most important things that you look at before you start is the date. So let's start with that. The 14th. The 14th, right?
I'm aware. Kies ek nog as MC die klik nee man, ek's mal.
Dog het van sy motorfiets afgeval, né? Right, so the assignments due the 14th of October. When is the 14th of October? It is Wednesday, tomorrow, 2 weeks. Am I right?
Ja.
Yeah. So the portal has already been created on Moodle for you to upload, but I'm pretty sure none of you will upload now. The assignments on Moodle as well for you to download and start working on, and some of you, as Christian indicated, he started working on it already. Let's go through it already. It's individual assignment again, people, so there's nothing, again, that's too challenging, but let's go through question by question. The first question for this particular assignment is, I just want to get on the same page for both of you guys. Tomorrow I'm definitely bringing a cable so I can connect these two. Right. There's a scenario sketched for you. You've been appointed by Sanlam to assist them with the recruitment of a candidate for a vacancy that they have. Right. This is the a summary of the article as it appeared in, let's say, a publication, although the majority of people nowadays, when they do job searches, they do it online. Careers24, you go there, you actually submit your, electronically submit your CV. They go through certain questions that you are, personal questions that you have to answer and fill in first. It's almost like applying for a credit card online. There's blocks that you have to fill in your personal detail, and that allows you to actually then go to the next page. You upload your CV. They put you on a database because these companies work on behalf of a, they are recruitment companies or recruitment platforms, and they work on behalf of businesses. So they will take your detail. You have listed obviously the job types that you are interested in and qualified for, and they will send those to the different companies who have approached them. It remains on their generic database, but it also goes to the individual companies, and that company will then contact you. No, that company will contact them and say, candidate so and so that you send me information, because it's on their database as well. Can you please contact them and tell them that we are interested? And from there on, the company that needs or has the vacancy is the company that's going to start corresponding with you. They probably, in the times that we live in now, are going to do a Zoom interview with you, or via Teams or whatever platform they choose. And they will, obviously, if you are successful, they will give you the job. They will inform the company that they're used as a recruitment platform, and because they get a fee for this. They don't do this for nothing. So there's the details of the ad as it appeared, and based on that information, it's quite clear. And I think it's not the next chapter, but 2 chapters. We've got 2 chapters of work still to do in this term. And one of those 2 chapters deal with recruitment and appointments. What should be in a CV? What should be in a job application or job description? And that is what question 1 is about. We want you to design a job description for this particular position that is vacant. Identify any 3 points which should be added to the above job application for a financial advisor position, so that you know in what business sector it is, you know what position it is, and you will design a job description. You cannot really start on this until we haven't done that chapter, or you can go to that chapter and then you can look at what we have on the slides available to guide you in ensuring that your job description is complete. The important things about the job description is it starts with those very important personal details: name, address, contact details. It includes employment. It includes qualifications. It also includes your work experience if you're not straight from college or university. Then a very important one is also personal details like hobbies and stuff like that. So those are the generic sections that you'll find in most ads for vacancies. And then in the job description itself, it's very important to include what the person is going to do, what they're expected to do, what's expected of them, what does the company expect from them. It will maybe, if it's a sales position, it will include a work schedule if you are seconded to a specific section in which you're going to operate. If we can take it back to one of the chapters that we did or one of the sections that we did in sales about your different territories and different zones within a territory to ensure that that the business covers the entire area. This job description, or that component of the job description, is very, very specific, especially if you are more than one person with this at the company who holds the same position, like in this case, a financial advisor. There is definitely not one financial advisor. You won't be the only one. So there are going to be a number of, and each of them will have different responsibilities or different areas in which they function. That must be made very clear in your job description. But as I said, it's not a challenging question in my opinion. The majority of the information is either common sense, or you can do a quick Google search and to see what people who advertise online, what they include in a job description. I would prefer that you use that option because that's the medium that most people nowadays use, and use that as a guideline. Look at what they put in a job description and include in a job description. That's not a major question because a lot of the information that should be in a job description is already in the text that's provided to you. Right, let's go to question 2. Design an effective application form for the sales manager at Sanlam to screen applicants. Again, in my opinion here, people, there are some guidelines. I don't have the manual with me, so I cannot tell you which chapter it is, but I think it's chapter 14 or 15. But again, online, you get a lot of guidance from going online. Just job vacancies. If you just Google job vacancies, you will find that it will immediately list a number of institutions who are acting as recruitment agencies. If you go onto their sites, you will find generic application forms that they expect you to, and in this case, it will be electronic application form that they expect you to complete all the different cells that they provide. And to be honest with you, I cannot remember when last I saw a printed version of an application form for a job. Most of it is done online and is done in that format. So my suggestion when you go onto, when you want to start and complete this question is visit a couple of sites, get an idea of what a generic application form for a job would be, populate it with the information that you have that's given to you in the text, add some own creativity, but the bottom line here is that the specific, the bottom line here is that your application form, I think, needs to not just be a template that you download from a site. It needs to be a completed application form as well. There are a number of sites that you can obviously go to, and you can download a free Word doc application form and use that. Just make sure that if it's a Word doc, obviously you'll be able to make changes to it and change it and include what's expected from your textbook to be included in the job application, and then complete it with the detail. Christian Visser applying for this position, and give fake addresses and contact details and stuff like that, but complete the form as well. Okay, that's what question 2.2 expects you to do. For those guys who are logging in from home, Christian, let's say thumbs up. Dit is question 2.2. Ons het vraag 1 en 2 reeds gedoen. And we can now go to question 3. Outline, and now Vroom, you'll see, is one of the theorists that we deal with in that particular chapter, about, I think, motivating staff and ensuring that you remunerate your staff correctly, and that your salaries and that your fees that you pay them are industry related and competitive. Vroom is one of those who have a theory on that. So it's, I think, in chapter 14 or 15, but we'll get to that. He has an expectancy theory, and I want you to discuss it in question 3. How the 3 concepts are interrelated, and then provide a practical example related to Sanlam to your case study that support, excuse me.
Niks van my internet goed wil oopmaakie. Ek het hom nou net heeltemal kaart.
That's bad.
Gelukkig is al.
Nou ja, op prestige. Meneer zijn gezicht beweegt, maar hij is geen woorden nu. Ik zit aan die mic.
Klank.
Moenie my mic afsit nie. Thanks, julle
Ja,
kan
wie
hoor.
die hel doen het anders as meneer?
Ek disconnecteer die internet nie, maar dankie. Ek sal onthou elke keer om dit die eerste ding te doen as ek weer terug lewendig is.
Ek bedoel meneer doen.
Okay, we had question 4. Sanlam is committed to training.
Iemand moet, maar ek sweer meneer. Lyk my meneer wil ek moet ons praat.
Lyk my nie julle wil luister nie.
Hy gaan my nou skel.
Nee.
Dag lag. Ai.
Who can hear me? Can anybody hear me? Annika, daar van Hermanus se kant af?
Ja.
Good.
Ja, meneer, ek kan hoor.
Good, thanks. Sê maar net met die thumbs down vir my elke keer as daar 'n probleem is, and then we deal with it. Question 4 for your assignment. Sanlam is committed to training their staff. I think like most companies should. And identify the 3 benefits of training for Sanlam. So in other words, why should they train their staff? What is important? It's three marks. It's not a major. So don't give me a 3-pager for question 4 and only 2 pages for question 3, because it would not be in relation to the marks that you're going to receive. You're only going to get 3 marks. I want you to list and quickly explain in 2 sentences the benefits of, or 3 benefits that any company, in this case Sanlam, apply it to Sanlam, but why they would benefit from training their staff. I think nowadays it's almost an essential requirement for all employees to ensure that there is continuous training. But are they providing sufficient opportunities for staff to be upskilled and trained? There are many ways in which you can train your staff, and we'll deal with that in I think the last chapter. But one of the most important ones is and that's always been a challenge for companies, and it became later on almost an excuse why they don't train their staff, and that is, I cannot take Zachary away for a week to go on a training course. Who's going to do his job? So there's a cost implication, because they now have to get a temp in for a week to complete the work that Zachary would have done. But now it's also essential. We cannot have Zachary not going for the training. Alternatively, the challenge that they have is that that new person is very reluctant sometimes to, for a week, continue to do the work that somebody who's going to replace him in a week's time, and therefore they're not that productive. The other thing is that there's a cost factor involved, because they have to pay both. The solution to that is that more and more companies nowadays give you access, and they pay for your training, but it's done after hours. It's done online. You can do a short course in a 2-week period. You can do that with whatever time you're doing is available to you. So if you want to put in 6 hours on a Saturday and 6 hours on a Sunday, then you can actually complete the entire course in the weekend. But that is the sort of online continuous training that companies now offer to their staff. There's huge benefit in that, because there's been a shift in the philosophies that was entertained over years by companies as to how training should happen. Training, we employ somebody who has a minimum qualification to do the job. We know that we have to continuously train them. Things change, and train them especially in the ways in which we and our company operate. But more and more nowadays, companies do not require additional upskilling in a formal qualification way. You can do an online course, you can complete the course, and then you get a badge if you do some tutorials. So it's not a question of the traditional way of signing up for a course, paying 3,000 Rand. You have assignments, you have tests, and I have to admit, Annika again. So it's different in that regard in the modern era that we currently find ourselves in. So training, however, has not the essentials of training has not, or the essence of training has not changed. So the benefits for a company. To continue to train its staff is still a very important issue. It's still a very important factor. Question 4, therefore, a long explanation, but you're only going to get 3 marks for a very simple suggestions, 3 benefits for a company, or any company for that matter. Sanlam in this specific case, for training their staff. Right. The last 2 questions. IT, e-commerce, wireless, mobile technology, social media has had a huge impact on the manner in which Salesforce performs their jobs today and their overall productivity. As I said to a class earlier this morning, you can control this time you can control your time. It's one of the biggest challenges for people in sales is to manage their time. They manage their time poorly because they allow time to manage them. Last night, I went to bed quite early. I wanted to watch the Liverpool game because I know it was going to be good soccer. And then, unfortunately, I woke halfway through the night with the highlights being showed probably for the 17th time with a tablet somewhere in my bed. And my phone beeping the whole time, updating me on the score and stuff like that. So that's not switching off and that's not managing time. So it is very important that you learn how to manage your time correctly. And one way is to take charge of your time. And with the modern technology and all the smart devices that's available to us, it does not necessarily make us smarter because we are still making rookie mistakes when it comes to managing our time. For question 5, I want you to do an essay for me, conduct an essay which examines the impact that the above statement about technology would have on a successful candidate for the financial advisory job at Sanlam. In other words, IT, internet, all the e-commerce, wireless, electronic technology, and social media has a huge impact on how your sales force performs. And one of the aspects I've addressed now, that's only one of the aspects. The effect that it has on you as a salesperson and your ability to manage your time, and therefore it affects the productivity because you don't want to be excluded from any platforms. So you're almost, you're looking for new information the whole time. Yes, that is part of what a salesperson does because you have to be so alert 24/7 for opportunities and not missing out on an opportunity that it becomes a 24/7 job for a salesperson. But that does not mean that you have to work 24 hours a day. You have to manage your time. I can remember when I was with my previous college and managing the campus. I got to a point where this particular challenge was facing me that we have stated here in question 5. I called my staff together and I said, listen, I'm going to be coming in on a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday. I'm not going to be here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm going to be available between 8 and 5, normal business hours, but I'm going to be working from my home office. For me, it was necessary so I can keep my enthusiasm of doing my job because it was a change of scenery. It was like lockdown where I can quickly just get up, literally half an hour before my day starts, make a cup of coffee and sit in front of the computer in my tracksuit and nobody would see me. So that was necessary for me, but also I made a very important additional adjustment to my program. I made a deal with myself that business hours is 8 to 5. If you send me an email after 5 o'clock in the evening, in the afternoon, I'm not going to respond to it. I am going to only respond to it the next day after I've completed what I have planned for the next day. So let's say, for instance, tomorrow is Wednesday. Wednesday morning, there was a supplier who's going to visit your campus because they had to install, or you are considering to install a generator or an additional generator. That's priority. So I will deal with that first because that was in my diary that I planned for tomorrow. And when that is finished, I will get to my emails that were sent after 5 o'clock yesterday. The fact is, it took 2 weeks for
the mic.
I think we lost each other at the point where I was saying that I changed my routine at work, but I also made a very important adjustment, and that was to, and that adjustment was to take control of how I use my smart devices. So after 5 o'clock, you send me email. I'm not going to respond to it until I'm finished the next morning with what I've planned for the next morning. And I think it helped me because very often you get to the office and that has to do with how your modern technology, like we have mentioned in question 5, how that has taken over and taken charge of our time. Very often people, yes, I've got a calendar on my phone, but wait, what are you going to do next? What does your diary look like tomorrow? There's nothing on my diary. Exactly. You must have a schedule planned for the day. Like for instance, between 8 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock, I'm going to do all my admin. I'm going to do my preparations for the people I have to phone, the prospects I have to phone, because I can't phone them then because it's their first hour at work, and in that first hour at work, they're still gossiping and drinking coffee and chatting to each other and getting into the day. So it's not a productive hour. Between 9 and 11, I'm going to make my sales calls. I'm going to take a tea break. Then I'm going to start following up some of my prospects. I'm going to take lunch and I have 2 presentations scheduled for the afternoon. I'm not going to make any calls or take any presentations in the last hour of the day because that's when people are already at home in their minds. So they are not going to be productive. It's like somebody calling you and said, listen, excuse me, Jonathan, this is so-and-so from so-and-so. Do you have a minute? And we get those sales calls, people. During the last month of lockdown, I had so many. Just this morning, since we started class, I've had 4 people. Unfortunately, I couldn't answer them, but then they send you an SMS. Do you have a minute? And if I say, no, I'm about to go into a Zoom meeting, and they still continue, I will block that number for the rest of my life because it means that salesperson has not listened to me. And if you phone in, if you open the opportunity for me to say, no, I don't have the time, you have to accept my answer. If my answer is, I don't have the time right now, then don't talk to me. Then the next question would be, so what would be a good time for you? And then you're putting the ball back in my court, and I have to now say, listen, my Zoom session is about an hour. I should be done after 3. Phone me after 3. Okay? So there are ways and means that we can deal with how modern technology is affecting our productivity and stealing our time, because that's what it actually means. Because anything that takes your efforts away from what you have to do affects your productivity. And that's what this question is about. So write your essay about that. What I will do is I will include, I'm going to do, those guys at home following us online, what has the interruption factor been for you for this session? Could you follow most of it?
Ja, meneer se stem breek maar net dan. Dis maar.
Okay, what I'm going to do, obviously, because I have to convert this to videos and upload it for you guys this evening. I'll have a listen to it. If I see that there's issues with the quality, because this is not a lecture,